What's up, and welcome back to another episode of Keeping Up with the Commanders. I'm your host, Mason Kinnahan, and the Washington Commanders just got doubled up against the Detroit Lions at home, 44 to 22. Washington falls to 3-7 on the year. The Lions improved to 6-3 on the season. This is an eye-opening game. I mean, we kind of already knew what this team what was coming, with how the schedule is played out and with how the season is played out. But we're now at the point where, yeah, you kind of just got to accept it. This team sucks, and there's a lot of different reasons for that. But ultimately, they're not good. They're not good, and they're starting to realize it. The players are starting to realize it as well. There's a lot to talk about from this game, so let's just jump right into the first read. The defense still can't stop anyone, and they were not very happy about it either. Deron Payne got ejected early on. That didn't really help the cause. Quan Martin got a necessary roughness call or sportsmanlike conduct call, I think it was actually, on him. It was not a pretty game for the defense. They just could not stop the Lions at all. You look at the drives for the Lions in this game: touchdown, 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 field goal, touchdown, field goal, touchdown, field goal. They scored on every drive except the last one, which they just ran out the clock, and that was the end of the game. But they scored on every drive, every real drive they had. They scored. It is unbelievable how bad this defense is. And I'll get more into the specifics later on, but I don't think I've seen a defense this bad ever. And that is saying something. Washington's had some pretty bad defenses, especially in the Rivera era. But yeah, I have not seen a defense this bad. In the last three games, they have allowed 44 points, 38 points, 28 points, 44 points. And Washington has just lost their fifth straight game. So overall, this team is pretty bad, and the defense especially is really not that good. There's definitely things to look at. There's some positives in this game, and I'll get to that in a second. But overall, I mean, I think Mariota's quote after the game kind of just says it, and says pretty much all that we need to know about where this team is at. I'm gonna look for the full quote, but he said, we have to be honest and we have to be transparent. I don't think we are who we think we are. And look, this team doesn't have an identity. We're in week number 9 of the year, about to go into week number 10. Or is this week 10 now? This is week 10 now. We're in week 10 now, and we're about to go overseas in week 11. And Washington doesn't have an identity. It's a little late to, not have an identity as a team. Halfway through the season at 3-7. This loss, I would say, even though it doesn't mathematically eliminate Washington from playoff contention, I do not see them getting in at 9-7. Or would it be 10-7, I guess? So maybe, I guess, they can still get in. I would say that you need 10 wins in the NFC to get into the playoffs. So at this stage, Washington would have to win out plus have some help to get in. I don't see a 9-win team making it to the playoffs. So technically, they're still mathematically in it, but overall, let me pull up Tankathon, I guess. All right, in the Tankathon metrics after the 4 o'clock games, Washington is currently sitting 8th with the 8th overall pick currently, at 3-7, tied with the Dolphins at 3-7. They play the Dolphins next week. That one will be crucial in terms of draft seeding and all of that. But yeah, Washington's season's pretty much wraps at this point. A couple more injuries. Trey Amos hurt, did not return. Ale Cajo hurt, did not return. He took a pretty brutal hit on that kickoff. Hopefully he's okay. A couple other guys, were injured throughout this. I believe Jonathan Jones was hurt. A couple others. Just more injuries piling up on a season that has already just been hit so hard with injuries to this point. Let's jump into the specifics, though. Offensively, we'll start on the good side of things. Offensively, I don't think they were that bad. I think they were actually pretty solid, especially given, who was out there on the field. Treylon Burks was your leading receiver. 3 catches for 58 yards on 3 targets. I think Washington, I'm on offense. There's not really a ton to look forward to at this point, but Treylon Burks is someone that I'm looking at as someone, former first round pick to the Titans, didn't really work out there, had some injury troubles, but has come over to Washington. And after recovering from a season-ending injury last year and an injury in the offseason, and this was his first real game where he got a lot of playing time, and I felt like he delivered on all of his targets. It was a great catch on the left sideline, great throw for Mariota as well, and Burks was able to haul that one in. I thought he had a really solid game, and he is someone that's young. He has athletic tools. I think he could potentially be part of this wide receiver room multiple years from now, or maybe in 2026, 2027. Because Washington's receiver room currently is just a whole lot of question marks at this stage. So a lot of question marks. So Treylon Burks having the game he had, I think, is great for Washington. Mariota himself wasn't really that bad either. He only took 2 sacks. He wasn't really pressured. He was 16 of 22, 213 yards, 2 touchdowns. Washington put up 22 points, and they were very, they put up 22 points, and the offense had a couple of really nice drives in the second half or second quarter as well. 10 plays, 75 yards, took 6 minutes in the second quarter. A couple other touchdown drives, 9 plays, 69 yards, 5 minutes. 11 plays, 81 yards, 6 minutes. There was definitely a lot of things to like about how this offense was moving. They were controlling possession when they had the ball. The thing is that the other side was just horrific, like historically bad. And ultimately, Washington got doubled up, even though I think the offense really had a really solid performance. The run game wasn't really there against Detroit, which, they got down pretty early. So it was very pass heavy situations a lot of the time for Washington. And Mariota was able to deliver on a good amount of them. But Bill Krosky-Merritt, 11 carries, 30 yards. McNichols, 5 carries, 25 yards. And Chris Rodriguez, who also got injured, that was one of the guys I was missing. 6 carries for 16 yards. He had a touchdown as well. It was I thought the receivers were solid, at least better than what I was expecting. And Washington put up points. They went on a few very, very, very good drives. Not really much else I could ask for this offense, given who's out there. Like I mentioned, Robbie Chosen and Treylon Burks are like your top 2 receivers out there with Debo. And Jalen Lane, beyond that one catch, that was his only target tonight. And Zach Ertz, isn't exactly what he used to be anymore. So there were some positives on this offensive side of things. I think as well, the tackles I thought played great. Ryan Fowler, shout out to him. Laramie Tunsil and Josh Connolly against Aiden Hutchinson today. 2 pressures and no sacks allowed. 1 quarterback hit going up against Aiden Hutchinson, who, again, is one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. So we did not hear a lot from him. And Mariota threw the ball 22 times. So he had 22 opportunities, even, on some of his scrambles as well. So he had a few more opportunities, and Hutchinson couldn't get to Mariota. So props to Connolly and props to Tunsil. Tunsil this season has been the MVP, in my opinion, for the Commanders. He has been the best player on the Commanders so far this season. In pass pro, he's been incredible, which I think that trade really worked out for Washington this season. And I don't know about the future and how things are going to go there. I know Tunsil, I believe, is up for a contract extension this offseason, but he looks great out there. And him and Connolly, if Connolly can, he's great in run blocking at times, but pass pro is still not entirely there. If he can step up his game and develop and improve over the next couple of years, I think Washington has a really good tackle duo in Tunsil and Connolly. It's just, if that going to happen, especially on the right side of the line. We'll have to wait and see. But overall, the offense did a really solid job. Let's go to the defense, though. The defense did the exact opposite of a good job. Could not have been more opposite. I'll start with 94, Daron Payne. It's okay. Daron Payne. You guys saw me. I'm assuming everyone watched the game. Daron Payne got ejected in the first quarter for throwing a punch at Amon-Ra St. Brown. Javon Kinlaw after said that St. Brown punched Payne first, and then Payne's punch was retaliation. I saw the replay. It was about He gave about a 3 to 4 second window before Payne threw the actual punch, but it really just looked like Payne turned around and then punched St. Brown in the helmet. And rightfully so, he got tossed. I wouldn't be surprised if he's not playing next week or not traveling with the team next week to where are they going? Madrid for the Dolphins game, because it was really not good for Deron Payne. And I was someone that was pro for trading Deron Payne at the deadline. I'm still kind of shocked that Washington didn't sell off anyone. I get like Bobby Wagner and Von Miller. There's not really a market for those guys at this point in their careers. But for someone like Deron Payne, who has been a very solid piece this season, he's in a contract year. I thought Washington could have traded him away and got maybe a fifth round pick out of him, or maybe if you're lucky, a fourth round pick. But I am kind of shocked they didn't make any moves at the deadline, and ultimately you still got some of these guys that are not really culture fits at this point, and I doubt will be on the team next year, but they're kind of just sitting and rotting away on this terrible defense already. So that is that's kind of my thoughts on Deron Payne. Other notes, Jordan McGee still needs some work in coverage. I mean, I get you going up against Jahmyr Gibbs on that play, but man, he got toasted. McGee got toasted. Other things as well, no pressure on Jared Goff throughout the entire night. Goff didn't take any sacks. I mean, 25 for 33, 320 yards, 3 touchdowns, no turnovers for the Detroit offense. Again, this is a defensive coaching staff that prides themselves on having a great defense. Same thing as the last coaching staff as well. And ultimately, the defense is the thing that's letting you down time and time again, year after year now. It was the thing that let you down last year, and it's the thing that let you down this year. Like, it got worse. The thing I am most shocked by is that Dan Quinn's defense has gotten worse from week 1 of 2024 to week 10 of 2025. How has this unit gotten worse? That is kind of where I'm at. They've added so much talent, so much young talent, and it's not really worked out. It's not really worked out at all. And I don't know if that's more of an Adam Peters thing than a Dan Quinn thing, but this is kind of on Quinn too, and on some of the coaching as well. You move Joe Witt down from the box to the field. It didn't really feel like it changed anything. The Lions put up 44 points anyways. So it's definitely kind of a shock where this defense is at last year versus this year, how there was just no improvement, and it kind of went backwards as well. This kind of goes into the thing of I don't think Deron Payne should be on the team in 2026. I feel like this defense overall just needs a massive rehaul, and I'm talking like everybody. I'm gonna bring up the depth chart right now, and look. All right, we'll start Jalen Holmes. Why was he inactive today? I don't know. I really don't know. At a position that has just been hit with injuries after injuries, why was Jalen Holmes, one of your pass rushers that has actually been kind of decent this year, inactive? I'm not exactly sure. Preston Smith, again, not on the team next year. Javon Kinlaw has to be on the team next year due to his contract, but giving him that contract that he did in the first place was a questionable decision at the time, and still is. Deron Payne, contract is up. I don't think it's worth re-signing him. It was probably better off just trading him away. So you're probably going to need an entirely new interior defensive line. You have Johnny Newton, who is going to be back next year because of his rookie contract. But he hasn't really, no one's really talked about Johnny Newton at all. He can't get playing time over Payne or over Kinlaw. He's not delivered at all for Washington. Bobby Wagner, I think this is it for him. I think you're going to need a new middle linebacker next year. Frankie Louvu, I believe, is under contract for next season, so he is coming back. And I think he's a fine piece as long as you have some better coverage linebackers in the room. I think Louvu can be a great, run stopping linebacker and fill that role really, really well for Washington. But you have to have other linebackers in the room that can play coverage well, and that's just not happened. But I think he should be back. Jordan McGee will be back. Madrano will be back. Madrano still not playing week 10 is another questionable decision by this coaching staff in this one. Von Miller won't be back. Jacob Martin, I think, is a 1-year deal, but I think Jacob Martin has been a really solid piece for Washington. I would not be opposed to bringing him back next year. I thought he was a very underrated signing when they first signed him, and he really has been one of the more efficient pass rushers for Washington so far this season. Corners, Marshawn Lattimore won't be back. Um, Jonathan Jones, I don't think will be back. Trey Amos will be back. Uh, and that's kind of the linebackers. Everyone else, Sanders still will be back, of course. Igbenogany, I don't even think will be back. I mean, just looking at the starters, like safety as well. Jeremy Reeves will probably be back. I think he's under contract. Quan Martin, I don't think he'll be back. I don't. If they do, then they're kind of just settling there. But they have so many needs on the defense. I wouldn't be shocked if they bring back Quan Martin. But at the same time, I don't understand. Like if they don't bring him back, I don't care either. Or maybe he has one more year on his contract. I think he has one more year on his contract. So forget what I said. But I'm just looking at the starters right now. I mean, defensive line, Dorrance Armstrong will be back, but you're going to be missing 2 defensive tackles. You're going to need an edge rusher. You're going to need a middle linebacker. If you don't think McGee or Madrano can be the guy to step up, you're going to need an outside corner to go along with Trey Amos. You're going to need a safety because what you have at safety right now is not very good. And Will Harris, I don't know if he'll be back next year. So I thought he was really solid in his time. He gave me a lot of Jeremy Reeves vibes, or sorry, Jeremy Chin vibes when he was playing. But I don't know again if he'll be back. But that's a lot of pieces missing on the defense. So just a lot to kind of look at and just say, wow, this team really stinks, especially this unit. Which, yeah, I mean they did add a lot of new pieces. Those pieces though have not worked out well, and yeah, that is pretty much that. All right, final thoughts of the game overall. I mean, Washington stunk this one up again. I don't think people didn't see this coming. This one was kind of obvious, but you now go into next week. Like next week against Miami, 2-point underdogs in Madrid. If I told you that after the first 3 weeks of the season, Washington would be underdogs against the Miami Dolphins in Week 11, not because the Dolphins are great, but because Washington just stinks, you'd be pretty surprised. Yeah, you'd be pretty surprised. And look, the Lions were able to run all over this defense that Washington had today. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs, 15 carries, 142 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he also had 3 catches for 30 yards and a touchdown in the air. Like that guy is very good at what he does. And the big thing in the NFC divisional game last year was that they didn't give him the ball enough because he was killing Washington's defense when he had the ball, but they just didn't give him the ball in the second half, really. Now, you're going up against a very, very good offense next week. Again, this Dolphins offense has kind of picked it up in recent weeks. They come away with a win today against the Buffalo Bills. They put up 30 points. And I guess you take out the Ravens game, but they put up 30 points against the Bills and 34 against the Falcons. Those are 2 really solid defenses. The Bills, again, their defense has kind of been a letdown, but it's still not a bad defense. And Washington's defense is going to be going up against that. Devon Achane had, oh my goodness, he had over 200 yards, I think. Yeah, he had over 200 total yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, that's pretty much just going up against Jahmyr Gibbs 2.0 at that point. And if Washington couldn't stop Jahmyr Gibbs 1.0, I don't think they can stop Jahmyr Gibbs 2.0. So I'll be waking up anyways at 9 a.m. for that game, and hopefully seeing Washington win. But at this point, I would not be opposed if they just lost the rest of the way. Get a really good player, maybe trade back in the draft and get some more draft capital because you really need it. But yeah, that'll wrap up this episode. The next episode will be out on Monday. We'll be recapping the Dolphins game. If it's good, then it's good. If it's bad, then it's probably really bad. That'd be really bad. And yeah, final game before the bye week for Washington as well. So take that into note in Spain. So yeah, get ready for that. But that'll do it for this week's episode of Keeping Up with the Commanders. I've been your host, Mason Kinnahan. See you guys in the next one. Peace.